We spotted no issues whatsoever in their referencing. Then why it is given a 7? It deserves more. Do you also experience, despite all the hard work that you put into your writing, your IELTS writing score is not moving up or is not moving as fast as you hoped it would? You're not alone. And let me explain one of the reasons why that happens. Here is the band score we all know. You're familiar with this. You have seen it probably everywhere. It's easily accessible. It's out there for you to click and download. It is, of course, the IELTS writing band descriptors. And in the band descriptors, you can see different scores on the left-hand side. So these are the bands given to a single task response. For instance, what you're seeing right now is for task 1. It can be general training task 1, labeled here as GT, or academic task 1, labeled as A here, meaning for those who want to pass the academic version, they have to write a report based on a visual, a chart, a diagram. For those who wish to sit the general training module, you need to write a letter. It might be a formal, semi-formal, informal letter. Now, this band descriptor is the assessment for only one task, and that's just for task 1. For task 2, we have a different band descriptors, and here it is. This is a different set of band descriptors for task 2. And task 2 is basically the same. There are minor, subtle differences. That's not the topic of this video. Task 2 for general training module and academic module is pretty much the same. And that is exactly what you see here. Now, the point at the beginning of the video I mentioned is, for instance, you have this assessment. So a candidate has submitted his or her IELTS task 2 for assessment at IELTS Juice. And we give them the, based on the public version of band descriptors, a table like this. And when they go through these numbers, they realize that, oh, they did very well in sequencing the events for their coherence and cohesion. They managed all aspects of the cohesion inside that task 2 very well. The paragraphing was sufficient, and there are no errors. Not only that, it's even uh, beautifully contributing to the agenda of task 2. We spotted no issues whatsoever in their referencing. Then why it is given a 7? It deserves more. Well, the idea is one of the criteria under this column, which refers to the number of discourse markers in this particular case. The number of discourse markers you used was either too much or too few. And that is, well, not an error, but it doesn't make your work, your task to response beautiful. Because of this, you see that this number is given 7. Many candidates think that, okay, there is 9, there is 8, there is 7, there's another 9, there's another 8. So the average of the scores should fall under something like maybe 8 or a little even more than 8, so 8.5. First point, no half point mark is given at this point in these columns. You are either 7 or 8. So we don't have any half band score in the middle, in the column. Number two, you either have all the criteria, that means all these bullet points, of score 7, then you will be given a 7. Or you have all the criteria for score 8. In that case, you will be given an 8. If you do not have even a single criterion of number 8, then all IELTS assessment board will evaluate you based on the second lower point. So you go from 8 and you go down one level, and they check all your scores based on that number. In simple terms, you must show that you have the ability to score 7. If you have all the abilities for score 8, you will be given an 8. But if you do not have all the abilities to score 8, then 7 is the highest score that is given to you. Average mathematics has nothing to do with this assessment at this point. And number 3, I want you to understand, you work hard. You work really hard to improve your, for instance, lexical resource. And all the scores are 9, your range of vocabulary is wide. Then you have some, you have not some even, you have occasional errors that in nature, even those errors are slips of the hand or very, very minor errors. Again, you will be given 9. All the communications, for instance, with your audience, the examiner, the marker, is completely to the point and natural. But because some lexical items, some word formations you use are are understandable, but not beautiful. It's not the exact word people use I mean, the English people, the people in the English speaking communities use. It's not exactly that way. It's okay. You're fine. It's not an error. It's not just beautiful. You will not be given a 9. And I'm oversimplifying here. The point here is that if you have all the elements, then you will be able to improve the score from 7 to 8. If you cannot, in a sustainable way, improve all 4 bullet points, then no matter how hard you try, no matter how many advanced words you use in your writing, no matter how complex or compound grammatical structures you use here for your grammatical range and accuracy, if you make some errors, if one of these bullet points is not met, if the range is not there, if one of them is lacking, then you will lose the mark or you stay the same. And that can be one of the reasons why your scores do not move up. I want you to be very, very careful about this. And at the same time, I want you to understand that you have to work on your English in a sustainable way. So at this point, all I want you to understand is do not get disappointed if you work hard and despite all the vocabulary you learn and the structures you learn and the efforts you put into improving your writing, you still see that your score is stuck at a certain one, do take a look at the band descriptors we give you, look at the problematic areas, and try to improve your writing in a sustainable way. I hope I'll be assessing more writing pieces, task ones, task twos from you. And based on this approach, I hope they will help you get a better score soon. Don't lose hope. IELTS Juice is here to help you. Take care.